Did you know that the human eye can process images about 60,000 times faster than we can process text? And did you also know that you get about 1/10 of a second to capture someone's attention online? That's why in today's video, I'm sharing with you tips for how to plan a branding photo shoot for photos that you can use on your website and your marketing to help you stand out and be seen as the premier option in your niche so that ultimately you get more leads, clients, and sales. I've designed a guide for you to follow along with this video, and I will put the link to that down below. It's a checklist that you can use to help you plan and organize your photo shoot and to really use your photography to tell the story of your business and your brand, to build that rapport and that know, like, and trust with your audience. So let's jump right in. The first thing I want you to do is think about your brand aesthetic. What are the feelings that you want people to have when they land on your website? What's the vibe you want them to get? So I work with a lot of coaches and consultants and service businesses, and a lot of them are women who work with women. So maybe they want a more soft, feminine vibe. In that case, use some pastels, use some diffused lighting, organic textures, and things that are going to give a sense of that more feminine, softer quality. Other people are going for a bright, cheerful vibe. So in that case, use some bright colors, bold shapes, use things that stand out and give more energy in your photography. The next thing you want to do is you want to open up Pinterest, and this can be a secret board if you don't want to share it with everybody, but I want you to pin some things like locations and poses and lighting that you like that are going to help support that brand aesthetic. Then we're going to move on to choosing a photographer, and I recommend that you interview a few people to find somebody who you have a great rapport with. You've got to have a good relationship with your photographer because you want to be comfortable and be able to be yourself so that they can capture those moments. Ask to see their portfolio. If they are a pro at taking those cute little chubby baby pictures, but they don't do grown-up pictures at all, maybe they're not your person. So you want to see their portfolio and see that they do branding photo shoots. You also want to talk about the session details. So how long is the session? Are you allowed to go to different locations? How many outfit changes do you have? Do they have an assistant that's coming with them to help with this? Get clear on the copyright rules. So are you allowed to use the photos that you hire them to take in your marketing and on your website? Do you have to give credit? I always recommend getting a signed agreement so that everybody knows what their role is. You know what you're buying, they know what they're delivering, and there's no ambiguity there whatsoever. Talk about the timeline. How long is it before you can actually see the proofs? And when you select the final photos that you want them to touch up, how long before you get those final images back? That can really affect the timeline and the delivery of your website. Talk about the locations. Your photographer may have some great ideas for locations. They probably know some places around town where they can get great photos and a pretty background, but bring some ideas to the table as well. Maybe there's places that you like to frequent and you want to make sure you get some pictures where you're in a coffee shop or your home office, or maybe you want to go to your favorite park. Plan out the logistics. If you're doing a photo shoot that's over multiple locations, you don't want to waste the time you have with your photographer in the car driving from place to place. So another thing to think about is if you are doing photos at a particular location, like a botanical gardens or a park or a museum or a hotel or things like that, you may need to get permission to take photos there. And a budget-friendly tip for you is if you want to have a professional photographer, you could contact your local college that has a photography department. There are always students there who need to build their portfolio. I got my degree in fine art in design with an emphasis on photography, and I mean, the first one to tell you, there are a lot of photographers out there that need that portfolio, and they'll be willing to work for probably a little bit less and will probably go out of their way to over deliver. You also want to think about your clothing and accessories ahead of time. You don't have to have clothes that match your website branding exactly, but you want something that complements it. And so think about the colors and think about the overall professionalism. If you've got a real casual vibe and you show up in a suit, that might not look so great on your website. Also, choose things that you feel really comfortable in. You are going to be posing and you don't want to have to be worried about sucking in your stomach because you have a muffin top top in whatever particular blouse you decided to wear. Choose something that you can just be yourself. You have enough to worry about that day. Pay attention to the seasons, okay? So I live in Wisconsin and it's winter a lot of the time here. And so I would not want to go to a photo shoot in a chunky, cozy sweater because people in other parts of the country are going to see that. And I work with people all over the place. Or people in the summertime are going to come see it and they're just instantly in their mind going to have this subconscious, oh, this picture wasn't taken recently feeling. And so choose things that are pretty neutral. So I would also avoid distracting prints and really bold things that are going to date themselves quickly. And then also go for some versatility. So for example, if you decided to choose a dress, you could have a scarf or a necklace or a sweater or something over it that will make you feel like you're in a different outfit without having to waste time on a full wardrobe change. Think about the props you want to have. So maybe you want to have your laptop or your favorite coffee mug, or if you're a yoga instructor, your yoga mats and blocks, things along those lines that will help tell the story of your photo. And then maybe you want to have some people in your photos. So like family members or people standing in as clients or your pets. There's a few other things to think about ahead of your photo shoot. Are you going to be doing your own hair and makeup? If that's the case, then schedule some time to do a practice run. Or if you're going to be having someone else do it for you, make an appointment the morning of your photo shoot to get those things taken care of. Your nails, if you're going to be typing on your computer and there's going to be pictures where your hands are in them, which I recommend, then you may want to touch up your nail polish or go get a manicure before the photo shoot. And so schedule that appointment as well. Do you need someone to babysit your kids or your pets? And if you're having your kids and your pets in the photo shoot, maybe someone who can bring them for that portion of the session and then take them home so that you don't have to worry about keeping an eye on them while you're taking your pictures. I recommend having an assistant if possible. Your photographer will probably have an assistant themselves, but if you can have someone who's making sure that your hair isn't sticking out funny or your necklace doesn't need to be twisted around or that you don't have some lettuce in your teeth from lunch, that can be really nice. Someone who's paying attention to you so that you don't end up at the end with pictures going, gosh, I wish my hair wasn't sticking out that way. I do recommend packing a little emergency kit as well with some extra makeup and some nail polish and some hairspray, maybe some bottled water and some snacks to help you get through the day because it will be a little testing and you want to be prepared for whatever comes up. So now we're going to talk about getting the right shots for your marketing and your website. And so first of all, we're going to talk about photos of people. Well, you, right? So we want to get some headshots. Some professional headshots are great to use in your social media profiles and on your about section of your sales pages. You're also going to want some portraits capturing you in different poses and in different settings and expressions. These offer more variety on your website. Some action shots can bring some energy to the page. So things where you're moving, maybe you're walking or the wind's blowing your hair a certain way, or you're doing activities related to the services that you provide. Those can really help kind of share your expertise and your professionalism and what it is that you do. Some lifestyle shots. So maybe it's you pushing your kids on the swing or taking your dog for a walk or cooking dinner or drinking tea and journaling. Photos of places and things to think about. If you have an office that you go to, that can be nice and can help people see what to expect. People like to see the behind the scenes. Where's the magic made, right? So let them do that. Detail shots can be really nice to help fill in. These are shots that are kind of a little more like a still life where maybe it's showing a notebook with your logo on it or a pen with your brand name on it. If you have journals or workbooks that you've created, or if you've developed a course and you can show that on the laptop. In the guide down below, I have a whole list of things for lifestyle photos or candid photos that you could take. The goal is to show you living and loving your life. So some examples would be you cooking or shopping or journaling or reading or working out or going for a bike ride or dancing with your love. Or maybe it's participating in your favorite hobbies or kissing your spouse or tucking your kids into bed or getting up in the morning and getting ready or playing an instrument or working on your iPad, taking pictures, sending a text. There's a million different ideas. I put a bunch of them in the guide for you to help you brainstorm and make that list of shots you want to get. Also think about photos of you doing your work. So if you're a speaker, I want to see you up on stage in front of your audience, or even if it's a small group of people speaking in front of them, that can express some authority and positioning that you're a leader. Maybe it's you working with clients or people who look like your clients if you need to get some people to step in and do that. Or if you work virtually with your clients, maybe you arrange a Zoom meeting at that time so that your photographer can take pictures of you with your computer in front of you, maybe over the shoulder or something along those lines, where you're meeting with your clients. Notice that if you ever do pictures with people in them that are not you or your immediate family, you may need to get a signed photo release. So pay attention to that. Your photographer can probably help you with that. Now let's move on to optimizing the pictures for your website. So file sizes, all the images should be optimized for the web. So we recommend about 1 megabyte per image if possible. And you want to compress your images so that the file sizes are a little bit smaller, but you don't want to compress them so far that it's going to lose resolution. Remember, a lot of people have Retina displays, so those typically have about double the pixel density of a standard image. So as you're compressing the images to get a smaller file size, make sure you're not compressing them too much. You don't want to lose quality. Your photographer can probably help you with that. As far as image formats for the web, really JPEG or PNG files work great. PNG files are typically more for transparent images, whereas JPEGs are pretty much whatever image. And then think SEO. When you give us the pictures for your website or you go to add photos into your website, if you name the actual file name one of your keywords, that can help you with SEO. Instead of naming it IMG 2239, whatever the picture number is, name it that keyword that you're going for on that page. And then alt tags. Every image you add to your website or to your emails should have alt text with it that describes the image that screen readers can use in order to tell whoever's using the screen reader what the image is about. Also think about photos that are going to go on a website. They need to be responsive, meaning there's different size devices that this image is going to be displayed on. And one of the tendencies with photographers is that we want to crop in tight and really compose the picture. But when we do that for the web, what happens is someone who is taking a photo that's maybe 4:3 aspect ratio, like a typical landscape aspect ratio, and I put it in a banner section on a website on my 27-inch iMac with Retina, it cuts off your chin and I can see your little face and that's about it. And it looks awkward. So we want to make sure that there's breathing room around the subject in the photos so that we have the ability as website designers to position the image properly so that things don't get cut off on different screens. Have your photographer think panoramic when they're taking pictures. So instead of just a typical 4:3 landscape ratio, have them think more 3:1 or 2:1 or 16:9 for a full screen banner. That can be helpful. And in the guide I linked down below for you, I have a whole chart of various image sizes and aspect ratios that we commonly use in website design. I have a couple of composition tips for you as well as you're taking photos. It can be really nice to have photos of you off center so that we can put text in the negative space and overlay that to create a really pretty layered effect where we don't have text going across your face or over your body, but it's next to you. The other thing is if your eyes or your fingers or the angles of your body, however you're posed, point to the text, it will naturally draw the eye of the website visitor to the text, and that can draw their attention to a headline or a call to action, which can help increase your conversions. I have a few tips for you if you decide you're going to DIY your photo shoot. Now, having a photographer, I think that they are amazing and it's totally worth it to do that, but not all businesses are in a place where that makes sense financially, and I completely respect that. And so if you want to DIY your photo shoot, grab your smartphone. The resolution on those cameras is amazing. A lot of them have like the portrait mode that'll allow you to have that blurry background, and they do a really good job with the different lighting and handling that, and so that can eliminate some of the stress. If you have a great camera, obviously use that too. If you have a friend to help, that can be really nice. They can take the picture and give you some suggestions on how to sit and get a more natural looking shot. If you're doing it yourself, use the timer on your phone or get a remote shutter that you can use with your phone. I know my Apple Watch even has a camera app, and I can use that to take the picture so that I can make sure that I'm centered in the screen and I'm framed the way that I want to, and then just discreetly click my watch and it will snap the shutter and take the picture. Leverage natural lighting whenever possible. So if you are able to sit in front of a window or be outside on a cloudy day, that can be really beautiful. Golden hour, just as the sun is setting, that can be beautiful to get some really pretty photos with natural lighting. Experiment with different angles. We've talked a little bit about looking in the direction of the negative space of where your text might be or something like that, but maybe experiment with shooting from above or shooting from below or from different sides to find different angles that are interesting. If you're in an urban area, use the natural perspective lines of the building to draw attention to where you want people to look in the photos. That vanishing point, draw them to that. If you are doing photos of yourself, just simply like crossing your arm across and having it resting on your knee or something can create some nice angles in the photo to make it much more interesting. And then I recommend that you take a lot of pictures. I would rather you kind of bracket it and take a bunch of pictures of the same pose, different expressions and things along those lines, so that in the end, when you're going in to edit your photos, you've got the best chances of having captured the perfect shot. If you're taking them yourself, get up, look at the camera, swipe through some of the pictures, make sure that the composition is the way that you want it, that you're sitting in the frame the way you want to be sitting or standing. That way you can make little tweaks and adjustments as you go. And do this frequently. Don't just take one photo shoot and then not do another one for the next 10 years. This is something that you can be doing ongoing to create a lot of content for your social media and for your emails and your website. The more pictures you have, the better. And remember that B-roll film that you put into a video, having some of those still life detail shots can be really nice to include in your marketing as well. So I hope that this video was helpful for you. If it was, will you please click like and subscribe and share this? I'd love to hear your comments down below. If you have any tips you want to add to this, having great photos, they really truly can elevate your brand and position you as the premier authority in your niche. Grab the guide below and use it as a checklist to plan your photo shoot, whether you're DIYing it or you're working with a photographer. And always, if you need help with your website, we have a lot of packages, from very inexpensive done with you website packages up to custom websites, funnels, membership sites, course sites, all of that stuff available. I would love to help you. We've got one more opening for spring. I don't know when you're watching this video, but if you're interested, book a clarity call with me. On your clarity call, we go through and we strategize. What would you need in a website? What would you need in a funnel? And I build out a funnel blueprint for you that you can have whether you work with us or not. It's a huge value and will give a ton of clarity, hence the clarity call that you're doing with your marketing. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and share, and I'll see you in a video next week. Bye-bye. Happy marketing.